My name is Rob Roberts. I'm a project manager with Trout Unlimited, and welcome to the lower Rattlesnake Dam removal site. This used to be a 15-foot high dam by about 100 feet long. The dam was built in 1904. It was resurfaced in concrete in 1924 and served as the city of Missoula's primary water supply from all the way in the early 20th century all the way till 1983 when it was taken offline. All of the water utility was transferred to groundwater wells in the aquifer. This site theoretically became an emergency backup supply, though it hadn't been used in almost 40 years. We fast forward to about 2017, and the city of Missoula finally, after a lengthy legal proceeding, acquired the former Mountain Water Company. They gained access to not only this site, the 40 acres surrounding it, and 10 dams in the Rattlesnake Wilderness, which is basically just above our heads right here.
Ultimately, unless a dam is delivering some benefit to the community, there ain't much sense in having one, right? And that dam was no longer delivering any benefit to the community. That reservoir wasn't a community asset, and in fact, it was a community and environmental liability. So our ability to work with our partners and think about that differently and think about restoration made a ton of sense.
So when we first came to site, we had a dam that spanned the valley as well as a large earthen embankment upon which sat a cabin and several outbuildings and 15,000 cubic yards of material. The first thing we did was take that embankment, all that material, basically shove it to the north into the reservoir. It was formerly a 3 million gallon reservoir. We basically flip-flopped that material where it came from and graded out this whole valley. We were then able to basically build a bypass channel around the site. That's a temporary diversion channel which routes water around the site, around the main demolition concrete removal activities so that we can reduce our turbidity, reduce our impact to the stream. After that's done, we start jackhammering on the concrete, removing retaining walls to the reservoir, working our way down valley to the main spillway structure itself. Once the dam was removed, we basically had a blank slate. We started building our stream channel, laying large boulders, cobbles, gravel, meticulously building the stream bed surface, digging our pools, and starting to lay out our meanders, of which we have 3 big meanders that curve through the site, as well as log jams on each of those meanders that really form our habitat features. After the stream channel was built, we routed water back into the stream. And what you see here right now is the crew is working on what we call floodplain microtopography. So they're adding logs, adding brush, adding rocks to the floodplain surface. We're building side channels, scalping little wetland cells that will remain saturated and grow emergent plants, and basically form sort of the rough surface over which the floods will flow in the spring, trap water, trap sediment, trap seed sources, and provide all that near-term stability before vegetation takes hold and this site sort of starts to come to life. We have a number of benefits to this project. First of all, the dam was a fish passage barrier for nearly 100 years after it was built. Fish that wanted to move out of the Clark Fork River, like bull trout and West Slope cutthroat, that wanted to move upstream, spawn in this pristine wilderness, were blocked by this dam. Moving the dam obviously allows that to open up. We now have 15 miles of former habitat that's accessible, and the creek is fully reconnected for the first time in over a century. We also created 1,000 feet of new stream channel habitat with deep pools, riffles, wetland cells, and side channels that are going to form the foundation of a vastly improved fish and wildlife habitat. And we were able to really reconnect a large amount of recreational space to this project.
From a public recreation standpoint, I mean, we already had a trail to get people through the site, but this site was largely fenced off. And, it wasn't easy for wildlife, of terrestrial or aquatic, to move through the site. The number of people that have come out since the project began and since we constructed our overlook that have said, I didn't even know that was down there, is like astounding. Folks that have been here for, decades.
What we're doing in the Rattlesnake is being intentional. We're engaging in restoration. It is a resource, and to the degree that we can be stewards, we ought to be.
We have 40 acres of city public open space that is reconnected new trails that are going on in each side of the creek, as well as interpretive kiosks on both sides of the creek that will talk about our ecological goals and benefits, the historical integrity of the site, and also talk about the legacy of tribal use in Rattlesnake Creek. Rattlesnake Creek was a really important fishing ground for the Salish people. They had a fishing camp at the mouth of Rattlesnake Creek. They dried and smoked fish for winter stores. And the dam was a significant disturbance to that historical fishing ground process. Once that dam went in, the Salish people knew that that would be the end of the bull trout run and they had to move on. So we're symbolically reconnecting, restoring that fishing ground for the Salish people. It will never return to the point where they can actively fish for bull trout, but they see a huge benefit in that, and they're actively working with us on interpretive kiosks and really trying to tell their story about the importance of this site. The city of Missoula acquired 10 more dams in the Rattlesnake Wilderness on 8 lakes, 8 high mountain lakes in the Rattlesnake Wilderness area, along with the purchase of this mountain water company. Those dams the dams in the wilderness haven't been used in over 40 years. Most of the infrastructure is non-functional, it's hard to access, and it's currently a liability, and it costs the city to maintain an inventory every year. So we're currently working with the city, Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks, and some other partners to evaluate the suite of dams in the wilderness, and are looking at a suite of decommissioning projects that will happen over the next decade, and really start to take care of the liabilities the city has in the forest, as well as really return or renaturalize those sites, turn them back into cirque lakes, and sort of fully reconnect this watershed.